Hey, welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate it if you purchase your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. Today we'll be going over quite a rare watch in the Rolex Daytona catalog, the 16520 all steel bezel, steel case, steel bracelet. But more than that, it is known as the Daytona Zenith, or Zenith Daytona, with the Patrizzi dial, or Patrizzi dial, meaning that it has a lacquer or sort of varnish on the subdials that actually oxidized over time due to interaction with UV rays. Now, at the time, they didn't know, Rolex did not know the effect of the lacquer on these subdials until much later. And so this specific dial configuration with this lacquer was only in production from about 1993 to 1997-ish. This is a W serial model that I have right in my hands right here. So that means it was from 1995, right in the middle of its production, right? But before we go any further, we'll be going over the dial, the bezel, the case, as well as the crown functions, the pushers, as well as the movement and the bracelet. I'll be giving you my thoughts on all of these throughout this video. Now, starting off with the case, we have a 40mm case from finger to thumb. That's its diameter. All right, nice and thin, about, I believe, 12 millimeters in thickness. I don't remember entirely. All right, so correct me on that if I'm wrong. All right, but it also has about a 50mm lug span effective, depending on how you wear it. Now, this one has hollow end links, so as you can see, it's sort of, well, single and hollow end links. So the sort of curvature does sort of lend itself to being worn on smaller wrists. All right, so keep that in mind. All right. But also taking a look at this case here, we have a nice high polish along the sides here with a nice satin brush finish along the fronts of these lugs, sort of showing its age here, because the newer models of the Daytona with the ceramic bezels all have full polish finishing on the fronts of the lugs as well. All right. Otherwise, basically the same as a modern Daytona. Now taking a look at this bezel, full steel bezel with the lacquer finishing on the insides of these little numbers here, all very nicely still intact. All right, and with the little dot indices as well. It's not using the newer form of the ceramic bezel numbering system, and all these numbers are actually upright when you have this on your wrist. So that's a good plus for having one of these older models. Now also, taking a look at this dial, this is the black dial. It also came in a white dial variation, also the Patrizzi sort of form with that lacquer that oxidized over time. So this was a sort of, well, not entirely a mistake, but sort of a little oversight. Something that literally no one could have predicted at the time, at least, that Rolex had placed this sort of lacquer on these subdials to keep them, you know, from tarnishing. But in fact, the lacquer itself tarnished over time. So a little bit funny there, but that's basically what happened. Now, this dial is probably what Rolex would call a bright black dial, because it doesn't have any sort of sunray patterning effect, but it's very intense with its sort of matte finishing almost. Not entirely fully reflective, but it has a very nice sort of look and sort of like visual feel to it that really makes the index markers and the subdials sort of pop a little bit better. And I do very much like this configuration here, actually. The 30-minute and 12-hour chronograph dials are at the 3 and 6 o'clock positions, while the small seconds is actually at the 9 o'clock position. Now that's due to the movement on the inside. A little bit more on that in a second though. All right, now taking a look at the functions of this watch, it's basically what you would expect from a Daytona. Simply unwind the crown to the first position. This allows you to wind the watch. So from a dead stop, just about 20 to 30 full winds gets you to the full power reserve. All right, pull the crown out to the final position, all right, and then this will allow you to change the minute hand. And now note that there's no hacking function on that seconds hand, but if you're experienced, you'll know that a very slight push backward on that minute hand will actually stop, or even, as you can see, reverse that seconds hand. All right, so I wouldn't really do that for very long on an older movement like this, just in case you don't want to, you don't want to damage the internal mechanics, but you can actually do so if you really need to set the time precisely. All right, so place it where it needs to go, press the crown back in to get that minute hand nice and fixed where it should go. All right, and this is an older model, so it has lost some of its lubrication, so very, very careful with tightening up that crown. If you feel any sort of weird resistance, be very careful with that. All right, now these pushers for the chronograph are screw pushers, so you have to unscrew them first. All right, but press it once to get a nice click. Very easy to start and stop. Very nice midpoint actuation, actually, for that the pressing of this top chronograph button, at least. And having it go all the way around will tick the 30-minute dial forward by 1 once it reaches that 12 o'clock position, as you can see coming up really soon. All right, and there you go. Ticks forward just by 1. All right, and once this ticks forward all the way, once the 30-minute dial goes all the way around, the 12-hour dial will tick up by 1, same amount. To reset both the subdials as well as that chronograph hand center mounted, just press that bottom chronograph pusher once you have it stopped. All right, and if you no longer need these, and if you want to retain that 100-meter water resistance for this watch, be sure to screw these chronograph pushers in nice and tightly. You want to retain that waterproofness. Now also keep in mind this does have the triple lock waterproofness system. As you saw when I pulled out this crown here, there is an extra gasket on there. There's more gaskets through the inside of this crown, so you know that certainly this will certainly hold its waterproofness. All right, so what allows all of this to work is the Rolex Caliber 40304030, all right, based on the Zenith El Primero 400. Now, Zenith was sort of making movements for a lot of watchmakers at the time, and Rolex basically took the Zenith El Primero 400 and made a few adjustments to it, by a few meaning a little bit over 200 adjustments to it, to basically make it work as they intended. So over time, this became one of the first, or at least this model, the 16520, was the first reference number to house a fully automatic chronograph movement for the Rolex Daytona. And so this one was sort of an iteration basically on that movement, the Zenith. All right, now you can't see it through the case back. It's a solid case back if my camera would like to focus. All right, so solid case back, so you can't see it, but you do get that extra protection for that movement. All right, it has a bidirectional winding rotor with a 30.5 millimeter diameter, has 31 joules, beats at a frequency of 28,800 vibrations per hour, or 4 hertz, so it matches that of modern Rolex vibrations. All right. It also has the column wheel, so that's what makes it sort of that very nice clicky action when you press the actuation on the chronograph buttons. It has the center-mounted chronograph, small seconds, the horizontal clutch with the Breguet overcoil spring, free-sprung Glucider balance wheel, and microstellar regulating. All of that basically means you can take a few bumps, you can get relatively close to magnets. Don't place this in an MRI machine or anything, but basically for everyday use, you'll be just fine. You'll be keeping track of time just fine. No need to worry about the time-keeping capability of this watch. All right, so all of this working together makes it a very solid watch, certainly. Now, taking a look at the bracelet here, again, we have the sort of intermediate link onto this hollow end link here. All right, and all of these center links are high polished, but they are hollow. So you do have a little bit of that sort of play in there, but the previous owner of this watch actually kept it in excellent condition. All right, so very, very light scratches here, but otherwise there's no weird extra, how would you say, extra stretching of that bracelet. As you can see, as I place it down nicely here, it's not sort of coiling in on itself, so it has a very good sense of structure to it. All right, so nice satin brush finishing along the fronts of these outer links with the high polish along the sides there. All right, and we move down here. A nice taper down to the Rolex safety clasp, the older style version, so it works as the modern does. So just simply lift that safety out of the way, and then you can open it from the top there. You have the Rolex stamped logo on the inside. All right, nice and elegant. All right, and while we're here, I can actually try it on and give you my thoughts as to how it feels and wears on the wrist. All right, now, this Rolex Daytona 16520, the Daytona Zenith El Primero, or just the Daytona Zenith or Zenith Daytona, however you want to call it, with the Patrizzi dial. All right, looks rather large. Again, this is a 40mm case, so on my wrist, a 18 centimeter or 7-inch circumference wrist. I do find this a little bit big on the big side, although not too bothered by it, because the sort of the way that these end links work, they sort of grip the wrist a little bit better. So I do have the added security there, just from the way that it feels. If you have tried on the solid single end link models of the the more modern Daytonas or Submariners, you'll know that there's going to be a little bit more space underneath this portion if you have a smaller wrist like I do, when compared to the intended audience for this watch. But keep in mind that the Rolex, the Oyster style bracelet, does actually have plenty of breathability and incredibly light, actually, because of the hollow center links of this watch. Not exactly the best counterweight to fight the weight of the case, but the case is already incredibly light to begin with. So hard to say that it's necessarily, a chunker, because while it is a little bit large on the wrist, closer to a 50mm span on the wrist, it does actually have that weight savings that you probably I didn't even expect from a watch like this. Right? It slides very nicely under a suit cuff, that nice domed sort of portion of this bezel, keeping it nice and form-fitting. All right, so enough of what I think. What do you guys think about this watch? Let us know down in the comments below. And if you saw this and recognized it immediately from the first couple seconds, let us know. Flex your Rolex Patrizzi dial skills on this watch. Yeah, let us know down in the comments below. Be sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you can be notified when we go live with another video like this one. And as always, if you'd like to purchase this watch or any other watch, new, discontinued, or even extremely rare like this one, the Patrizzi dial with the Rolex Daytona Zenith El Primero caliber, visit our website, jazztime.com. Links in the description below. You can buy it there, and you can see pictures as well as this video as well. And we also have videos on that sort of demonstrate the functionality of this tachymeter on the bezel as well. I'm not going to go over it in this video. That would just make it way too long. But anyway, that's it for now. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.